Welcome to Watches with Dennis, and today I'm reviewing the Lange Söhne Lange 1. This is reference 101.032. This watch is from my personal collection. It was purchased used, and I've worn it about a week at this point. The Lange 1 is perhaps the most iconic design of Lange Söhne. The brand launched the model in 1994, and its calling card is really this asymmetrical dial configuration, which is balanced around the golden ratio. It's an exercise in mathematical precision to convey something that is extremely pleasing visually. But before going further with the watch, let's go ahead and take some measurements. Getting 38.5 millimeters in diameter, getting about 47.2 millimeters lug to lug. I have a watch thickness of 10.2 millimeters, and I have a lug spacing of 20 millimeters. This watch offers 30 meters of water resistance. The watch case itself is 18 karat rose gold, or as Lange calls it, pink gold. The bezel itself is slightly domed. In terms of complications, the watch has a big date function at what would typically be seen as the 1 o'clock position. A power reserve indicator is closer to the 3 o'clock position. The small seconds runs beneath the power reserve indicator, and the hour and minute hands reside across from where the crown is on the opposite side of the dial. The crown is in the traditional 3 o'clock position, and it is a signed crown. And there's a pusher that resides on the opposite side of the case, and that is what allows you to do a quick set on the date. Moving back to the dial, which is protected by a sapphire crystal, we see the hands and indices are the same rose gold as the case material. The dial is silver, but there are these concentric circle patterns that are cut into the two subdials that represent the small seconds and the hour and minute sections, so it does provide a little bit of visual diversity to the otherwise more frosted silver look of the rest of the dial. You can see at the top of the watch is the Lange Söhne branding, and then there are some markings indicating the power reserve over here on the right. The power reserve, the higher the needle points towards the top of the dial, the more power is in the watch. Below the hour and minute subdial is the notation that the watch is made in Germany, and at the bottom of the dial is a word I'm going to probably mispronounce, Doppelförderhaus, which is conveying that this watch uses 2 mainspring barrels. Everything is mathematically balanced following the rule of thirds and is very visually pleasing to the eye. The crown on this watch offers 2 positions. In position 0, the watch can be wound as such, and you can see that the power reserve indicator is starting to go up on the dial as I turn this more and more. We pop the watch into position 1. You can see the watch hacks, so the seconds hand has stopped moving, and we are able to set the time. Back in position 0, and the watch starts running again. Using the push button over on the opposite side of the case, we're able to quick cycle the panoramic date as such. This watch comes on an alligator strap, relies on a pin buckle system in order to secure it. Flipping the watch over, you can see that the watch has a display case back protected by a sapphire crystal, and it's showing off the caliber L901 movement. This is a hand-wind only in-house movement. The bridges are done in German silver, and you can see that they have glashütte striping, and they are in the famed 3/4 bridge format that many German brands like to utilize. The movement also has blue heated screws, black polished screws, gold chatons, and a hand-engraved balance cock. The movement offers approximately 72 hours of power reserve because it is powered by the 2 mainspring barrels that were noted on the front of the dial. This movement beats at 3 Hertz and has 53 joules. Looking back at the bridge work, you can see there are 2 sort of islands in the plate. The one in the center is actually covering the keyless works, and the one more towards the edge, in the case of this video up towards the top of the dial, that island is actually covering the small seconds area. Putting this watch on my time grapher, I get an average across all 6 positions of +4 seconds per day. The range of readings that I had were from -1 second per day to +12 seconds per day. So here's the watch on my 6.75-inch wrist. And here is some additional footage with some outside lighting conditions involved. So, in terms of my overall thoughts, this has been the dress watch I have most wanted to own ever since I got into collecting watches, and I suppose it's what one would call a grail piece for me. I got this used from the watch box, hence the used condition of the case. The watch was recently serviced under warranty, and so the timekeeping specifications that I got to you all earlier in the video are actually based on this serviced movement. Overall, I really like the balance of the dial, the mathematical precision to align all of these different elements in a way that is extremely visually pleasing, but also unlike any other watch dial, is the strongest feature of the Lange 1. Yes, the movement is interesting as well, but it is the dial side uniqueness that has made this a favorite of mine. I'd say the biggest negatives for the Lange 1 are, it's not really a watch, in my opinion, that dresses down very well. Also, some dress watch purists might be a little annoyed that it's a hand wind only watch, but it's still over 10 millimeters in thickness. But that is a price to be paid given the complications that are involved in this watch, and it is still quite wearable, but I did want to go ahead and note it for those that want something dressy and they think thin. While this is definitely thinner than a sports watch, it's not as thin as a lot of dress watches. Overall, if you can get behind the dial design, I think this is a top tier watch for those looking for something both dressy and different. Thank you for watching the review video. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a like as it helps the channel out. Subscribe if you'd like to be notified automatically when I release new videos. Thank you for watching, and I hope you all have a great day.